I'm down here with the brand new Brawny XM from Velowave. This is their new offering. This is the most expensive bike they have ever made, and we're gonna break it down and go over all the details about it and go over all the testing that we did. We did a lot of on-road testing, and then also we did a lot of off-road trail riding with these bikes because this is an on-road, off-road bike. We really wanted to test how good it could be in those situations. So we do a lot of on-road, then we go out into a trail, and then we come back on. So you'll see a lot of B-roll of us doing that, but that helps with a lot of these mud tires here and the fact that this thing has air ride suspension, which is really neat, and we'll go more deep into detail a little bit later about that. So Velowave did send me this bike along with another one that Josh and I did a lot of testing on. My brother is doing some testing here, the Art of Self-Reliance. You guys can check out his channel as well. He did a video on the electric bikes on his channel, but we're gonna go over this entire bike and then go over my experience with it and what I think. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is shipping. Now they shipped this one a little bit different than the other bike and all the other electric bikes I have tested in the past. We've done multiple testing of bikes, which has been a lot of fun, but this one I noticed was a little bit different. So this one's shipped by a freight. They actually had to take a forklift to be able to load it in the bed of my truck to then let me take it back to the house. So it was on a crate and it was packaged incredibly well, really safe. So I like to see that. I didn't want to see bounce around. Now the other one was packaged good as well, but this one was just extremely good because of the way they packaged it. So I cut everything apart. It does not come with your front tire or handlebars together, so you have to put those together, but if you've ever put a bike together, you're not gonna have any problem with that. So install was fairly simple. If not, they do have a video on YouTube on their website as well you can use if you want to try. But let's break down the whole bike and go over all the details. So let's go right up top here. So you've got your touch screen right here. You hold the power button and that is going to turn on. And you're able to change the settings, the brightness. So you've got your battery life up top, we've got 85%. You've got your mode, we're in eco mode, and it just has a nice little display here showing you. And as you change through that, it's gonna change your color. You got your Tour, your Sport Plus, and then your Boost, which is obviously the most fun and what we use the most. But you can go through there, then your speed. This thing can get up to 37 miles per hour top speed. I took it down a hill as fast as I could, and I got to 42, so that was the fastest I was able to get it to. But you have your time as well, and then if you press both these buttons here, you're gonna have a menu screen. And from here, this is not a touch screen, which tricked me because I was touching it, trying to figure out why it wouldn't work, but it is not a touch screen. Use your menu here to cycle through. You've got your brightness, how long that can stay on, your clock, and then you can also change what your actual setting looks like if you don't like that original style here. And then you have your modes, your trip reset, and then you press the power button, you can go to other, and then you have a ton of different settings right here, which we can cycle through on some B-roll if we want to, but just to show you guys real quickly what you have here on all of your, you can change your language if you want to. So you can just change a lot of different settings in that mode there. Now, I always want to have a minimum of 100 miles through a bike like this before I do a full review. As the time of filming this, we have 135 miles on this, and that is on off-road. I would say about 70% on-road, 30% off-road and on trails. Now for the suspension, this is really important because a bike like this is meant to go on and off road. So as you can see here, you have this air suspension, which I think is so cool, especially when you sit on it, the whole bike squats. Actually, I'll show you here real quick. So when you sit on this bike, the whole thing drops. And I think that is awesome. It makes it a lot more comfortable to ride, especially off-road. And that is what I found while riding this. So you actually have a lockout feature here on this middle suspension. You're able to lock that. And you have a RockShox rear suspension as well. So after suspension in this bike on and off-road, I was very pleased with it. And that was one of the biggest things I wanted to test with this bike was I want to make sure this was something I could ride on-road and then go off-road really quickly, or go back to my tree stand, or ride through the trails, because my brother's house is on the other side of our trails. So a lot of times I'll ride over to his house through the trails instead of on the road, and a bike like this is perfect for that. Now to go over a couple specs, you've got a 1,000-watt motor. That is going to be a mid-drive instead of a hub drive. So your hub drives are back here on the back wheel. The mid-drives are right here. These are more powerful, and in my experience are a lot better. You also have a 48-volt 20 AH battery. This is a max capacity at 38 pounds. You have a 17-inch or a 19-inch, and it depends on your height. On their website, you guys can see and look exactly which one's best for you based off your height. And then you have an olive green, which is this color, or a blue. This does come with a headlight up front, and what I liked about this, I noticed, is it actually has an auto dimming feature. So if you're out in the light, it turns off, and then when you go into, like, if I pull it in the garage, or if it gets dark out, it automatically turns on. All your wires are run through right here in the base of the bike, which is cool. So everything's already pre-run when you get the bike, so everything ran through there, and it's a lot less of a snag hazard. And then back here, snag hazard, I know, hazard. Then here in the back, you've got a blinking light that you're able to click in, and then you get a blinking feature as well. So that's just something you click on. You can also have a solid light and then turn it off, but just a nice little feature to at least have some kind of emittance out the back. The frame of this bike is a 6061 aluminum, and then you have a 10-speed transmission up here on the front. And what's nice about this is this is an actual rider's bike compared to some other electric bikes that I've ridden in the past, where a lot of those kind of are just more electric, where it takes over. Me personally, I really like to ride bikes. Me and my mom got into bike riding when I was younger. We did, I think the longest was a 54-mile bike ride. And then when she passed away, me and my brother, me and my dad, and me and my wife all really got into bike riding together, and we've been bike riding a ton since. So we really like the idea of the electric bikes because we all have kids now. Me and my brother have 6 kids together. Not together, just all combined, we have 6 kids. And a lot of times we'll take them with us on trailers. And with the electric bikes, it's a lot easier to go at a longer distance if you have the power of the electric bikes, but we still want the ability to actually ride the bike. And this bike, I notice, actually feels like I'm riding the bike with a little bit of assistance with that electric. Now, obviously you can turn it up because you have 6 modes if you want to, and you can make it to where the boost takes almost complete control over. But if you bring it down to that eco mode, or even in the sport mode, you still feel like you're actually getting a workout and you're riding your bike. With the pedal assist, you can get that 37 miles per hour. If you use the throttle itself, you can get 20 miles per hour. So you're not gonna get that full power if you wanna use the throttle, but I really don't think this was designed to use that throttle. I've used bikes in the past of e-bikes where it's almost just like an electric dirt bike where you can just throttle the whole time. And I 100% do it that way because it's fun. But with this bike, I think it's more designed to actually be a riding bike, which is what I like because it gives me the ability to go out and ride it. But I will say the one downside I don't like about this is this right here. So your throttle, I almost think that they cheaped out on it because everything else on this bike feels nice and premium. I would say everything else looks really nice and feels really nice, but this right here feels like a breaking point. The button itself seems cheap. It doesn't really seem to be as durable as everything else. The plastic actually seems to be completely different. Listen. It just seems to be made like a different material. It's almost like everything else they made premium, but they forgot to upgrade the throttle. So that would be one of the downsides that I don't like about the bike is the throttle. And it's a little different being there on the left side. A lot of the other ones are like a twist here on your right-hand side. This one was a little bit different, or like the throttle like a four-wheeler would be. I'm used to those as well. So this one was a little bit different to get used to, but the cheapness was something to note. This is a Class 3 e-bike, so just make sure if you're gonna take this to different parks or national parks, understand the classes and what you can and cannot take to those areas. For the battery life and the distance for the bike. Now it's gonna be really important for a lot of people, especially those that like to ride a long distance. Me and my brother like to go to 20, 40 mile bike rides, which these make it a lot easier to do because of the assistance. Their site claims that you can get 85 miles with the pedal assist per charge, and that's with the eco mode. And then it also claims that you can get 60 miles if you're just using the throttle. Now in our experience, we got a little less than that. So we ran this from top charge all the way down 2 different times through this different testing, and then just multiple times in between. We were averaging about 50 to 60 miles per charge on these, and that was in a variation of the eco mode and the step right above that, which I believe is a sport mode. Now, what I will say as well is it wasn't perfectly straight terrain. We live on hilly areas. You're turning left and right. You're moving, you're pedaling sometimes, you're not pedaling sometimes, you're going up hills. So it will vary a little bit, but we did average less than that 85 miles. So that is just for your information, just so you know. I'm gonna continue to test it. I'm sure just like they do in the car commercials is they probably coast this thing downhill with a wind behind you to get those numbers. So realistically, usually when you see those numbers, it is a little inflated, but I would have liked to see getting close to that 85 because 85 would get you pretty much anywhere that I would want to go with a bike like this. I'm actually taking this to, my wife's doing a half marathon here. By the time this is filmed, she'll already be done, but we're doing it here after the filming's done. We're going to a half marathon. I'm going to follow her on this because there's no chance I'm running that, but I'm going to be riding this all day around in Columbus. So it'll be really fun to see what it does in town in that kind of scenario. And one of the last things is the seat. This was a nice upgrade compared to the other seats that their other bikes have. Now, Velowave is known for a lot more affordable bikes. You know, they're around that $1,000 price tag, which is a lot more affordable for people, someone that just wants something simple in town. This one, you can definitely see where they brought the premium parts in. Wasn't the throttle, but they definitely upgraded there on the seat, which is a nice thing, especially when you're doing what they say, 85 miles on this thing. You want something a lot more comfortable. So it's nice to see that they put a nice comfortable seat on there. The air suspension, a lot of the features on this just make it a lot more comfortable to ride that longer distance. So this is the other e-bike that we've been testing from Velowave, and this is kind of what you're used to your traditional style of bike. The sitting position is a little bit goofier, and that's what I like about this one. So you can see the difference between these two bikes. And with this one, you sit up more high in a more aggressive seating position, a lot more comfortable for actually long distance biking. This is something more where you're gonna, you know, kind of take a leisurely ride around the town, or if maybe you go to and from work. So the seating position I like a lot more on the Brawny compared to this bike here. I know I'm gonna be asked about the helmet here in the video that I was using. This is a Demon helmet, and sounds terrible, but there's a link in the description if you guys want to purchase this exact helmet. They were on sale as well, so you can pick them up on sale, save some money, fairly inexpensive, a very lightweight, and I just like the fact that it has the front guard. When you're riding a bike that can go 37 miles per hour through the woods, it's definitely something I wanted to get, so especially even on the road too, because something happens and you don't have a helmet on, I would definitely recommend getting a helmet when you get something like this. Now, let's talk about something that's really important. That's going to be price. So obviously we've been talking about a lot of premium features here, and that's obviously going to bump that price up. It's going to be more premium. So this one here is the more traditional style, what they're used to. The more affordable bike, you're on the $1,500 price range. This one is going to be around $3,500. And there's a discount code that you guys can use to save yourself some money. If you guys want to pick one of these up and be able to save some money, you guys can use that, but be able to drop that price a little bit. But this one is going to be $3,500. So with all that stuff being said and going over all the features, let's go over my experience with this and my thoughts, my closing thoughts on this. So I think this is a really good bike if you are looking for something that you can go out long distance, you can go on off-road if you want to, and it actually allows you to ride your bike. It's not something that you're just going to use as an electric dirt bike. If that's what you're looking for, I probably wouldn't go with this. If you want something that you're going to be able to take for a long distance, you're in more of a biker's position, a little more comfortable for long distance, or if you're a traditional biker and you like that, this is going to be something that fits you really well, because that's something I see a lot of traditional bikers complain about, is something like this. They're like, well, it's just not as comfortable. It's more of a, I don't know, it's like a movie. You see someone with a basket on the front of their bike. It's just a little goofier and not nearly as comfortable to bike ride for long distances. So this is something that I would get if you want to do those things. And the price tag is going to be the biggest hurdle with this, and that's going to be something you're going to have to decide what's best for you, what works best for you. Hopefully this video is able to help you make a better purchase decision. That's always my goal, is to help you spend your money in the best way possible. That way you can be more confident about your purchase and be happy about it, or maybe this isn't the bike for you and that's okay. And that's my goal, is to help you make that decision better. Maybe this bike here is a little better for you because it's more inexpensive, more affordable, and that works better for whatever your situation is, or this is exactly what you're looking for. Other than that, if you want to help out the channel and things I do here, go to tacticaladvisor.net, and I'd appreciate that. It would be super helpful. Obviously, this is a little different than what my channel traditionally is. If you're a follower of mine normally, then you're like, what in the world is he doing? I like doing other things. Electric bikes, I think, is great with preparedness, and there's a lot of things you can do with these. And if you're new here, I'd love to see you stick around, subscribe if you enjoy the content, like the video, comment. But I want to thank Howitzer Clothing. They donate 5% of proceeds to charity. I wear their clothes all the time. Absolutely love these guys. There's a link in the description, actually, to the Tactical Advisor t-shirt if you want to pick up my shirt as well and support the channel. I would love that. But other than that, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Oh, hey!